So MAGA pastor Julie Green, she's back at it again. She made the bold prediction that Donald Trump would be found innocent. Actually, it wasn't just a prediction that he would be found innocent. According to her, God spoke to her directly and told her that the world would be shattered with the news that Donald Trump would be innocent. Now, what's funny about these clips I'm going to show you, she's always reading what God said to her. So I don't know if God has an email and God emailed her. I don't know if he Facebooked it to her or sent it on Messenger. I'm not exactly sure how he got it to her, or if she just hears it and then types it out and then reads it back. I don't understand if she's got that close of a connection to God, why she would have to read off of anything, because it seems to me like he would just speak through her. But nonetheless, here she is before the trial saying how that we was all going to hear the innocent verdict. Take a look.
Breaking news will be heard that will rattle the enemy's camp. Innocent. This ruling will be heard. The case has fallen apart. Their last-ditch effort did not work for President Trump. They cannot put him in jail now as the last indictment falls apart. Watch how things dramatically take place to stop your election and my David from taking back the seat of the president. But your enemies cannot stop the freight train coming against them, because it's me, saith the Lord of hosts.
So as we all know, it was actually her camp that got rattled with the news that Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. And so Julie Green now is already spinning this that God has told her something else. And folks, if there ever was an exhibit as to why religion should never have any control over the government, this is it. Because these people can clearly make up these predictions and make up what God is supposedly telling them as they go. So, without any further ado, let's get to what God had to say to Julie Green next.
He says, there will be no guilty verdict because there's no crime. He will not do any time behind their bars and their prisons. No, they will not get what they wanted. No, not at all. Well, you can say, well, that was not true because there was a guilty verdict. Look, he says there will be no guilty verdict because when somebody is exonerated, it's like it never existed in the first place. You can have a fake inauguration. Doesn't mean the person in that place is a real president. You can have a fake king to be coronated. Doesn't mean he's actually king. You can have a fake verdict. It doesn't mean that person is actually guilty at all.
You know, I've said this before. At first, when I started referring to MAGA as a cult, I really felt bad. And when I used words like brainwashed, I really felt bad. And when I used the phrase alternate reality, I felt bad the first couple of times I said it. But the deeper in the weeds we go with these people and we see just how truly delusional they are, I don't feel like it's wrong at all to say those things. I feel like it's a must. I feel like we have to point this stuff out because somewhere is someone sitting back listening to Julie Green and they're hanging on every word she's saying. And listen at how she continues to go off the rails here, and listen to how suddenly God's wrath is going to come on all of us who disagreed with his son.
Woe to the enemies of Almighty God. You are laughing, thinking you got what you desired. I will tell you, I will have the last laugh. Your verdict is a joke, an illusion. It's not real because it's not true. I will show you whose verdict really counts. My son is not guilty, and the world will see that is true. They will see your kangaroo courts and how they are a joke and how they are nothing against me. I am the judge over all the earth, and my court rules over yours. I have warned you to back off. I have warned you to quit, but you refused. Don't get comfortable celebrating because it won't last that long. Again, I say, you do not have my David where you want him.
Now, I do realize that there really are good Christian people out there who have their beliefs and who are productive members of society and who don't buy into this kind of bogus bullshit. But it's truly sad that people like this have adopted Christianity and use it. And when they do it from this angle, when they use it from the angle that Julie Green is using it from, she's never going to have to face accountability, and she's never going to be wrong in her world, because everything is fake. Everything is rigged against them. It's more of the Maga victimhood that she's adopting, but she's going over the top in trying to insinuate that God is on her side and he's talking directly to her, and we shouldn't be laughing, we shouldn't be celebrating, because he's going to bring his wrath on us. Now, what does that say to the unhinged people out there who are sitting there hanging on every word she's saying? I really feel like that this could instigate people like that to take it a step further, because the people that buys into this for real and thinks that God is speaking through her, first of all, they're unhinged to start with, and what are they going to do when they hear her say these kind of things? What could they be inspired to do next? But she just keeps on going here and rambling about how we shouldn't be laughing because our time's coming.
But I have you where I want you. I will open the doors wide and show the world a sham of a case this was. I will show your place. You have brought your indictments. You have brought your supposed charges against him. You have proclaimed him guilty. Well, you will see. You can't get past me.
Now, I already know what some people are saying. Yeah, but Brando, this is just some crazy woman on the internet. I mean, she really, she doesn't really represent true Christianity, or this isn't what Trump's really all about. And I would argue that no, they're saying out loud now at the Trump rallies that they're coming there to worship him. Take a look at this.
What more can be said than thank God we're here in Sunset Park to worship and bring back the greatest president we've ever known in our generation.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene takes it a step further, and she repeats one of Maga's favorite talking points ever since the verdict, that she worships a convicted felon herself.
The Democrats and the fake news media want to constantly talk about, oh, President Trump is a convicted felon. Well, you want to know something? The man that I worship is also a convicted felon. And he was murdered on a Roman cross.
So Julie Green may just have a little cult following on the internet that buys into her bullshit, but that type of rhetoric that we're hearing from her is bleeding right straight into the mainstream, and Donald Trump capitalizes off of that, and he runs with it. And he does not have a problem with that being his base. He does not have a problem with stirring up that kind of base and getting them worked into a frenzy using that kind of rhetoric. And that's why I will make the argument again that both sides are not the same. There is no way that I would ever condone that type of movement on our side of the fence. If I suddenly started hearing people comparing Joe Biden to King David, comparing Joe Biden to the Apostle Paul, and saying that he was sent here, and if someone was out there on the internet making these predictions that God had told them what was going to happen next with Hunter Biden, I would tell them to shut the hell up. And I would also say that I am in no way affiliated with that whatsoever. But as long as it gives MAGA breathing room and talking points, they'll go for it. If they feel like it gives them an advantage at all, they will use it. They don't care how far down to the bottom they have to go, because they have no bottom. They will go down, scrape the bottom of the barrel. They'll come back up with whoever and whatever will echo their agenda. And so a lot of people would say, well, man, this woman's just crazy. She's harmless. I would argue the exact opposite. No. When that type of rhetoric gets into unhinged people's minds, they can do unhinged things. And it's such an easy, she has the easiest scapegoat ever, because it's always God talking to her. Well, I would like for her to show us the evidence, where she heard this from God, where he sent it, what email did he use, what account did it come from, because they truly do live in an alternate reality. They're in one. And no matter what happens to Trump, they can come out and say that, hey, that's not reality and God's coming for you. And, I just wouldn't want to worship a God. Like if I was talking to Julie Green, I would say, you know what? I wouldn't want to worship a God that would use Donald Trump. And I wouldn't want to worship a God that would compare him to David and call him my David. If I suddenly heard a voice coming out of the sky telling me that he was God's David, I wouldn't want to be associated with that voice. I know that may sound crazy to some people, but I would be like, hold on a minute, wait. If that's what's on the other side, if that's the judge and the jury on the other side of this whole mess, we're all screwed, folks. We truly are. And this idea that Julie Green's voice is out there getting heard and moving further along, and there's people buying into it, it's something people need to be paying attention to, because it's not just some deranged moron on the internet. It's affecting everyone now.